Waffle House. Sun comes up, sun goes down. A concept that Waffle House appears not to notice. Seemingly unimportant. Much like Einstein's theory of time, it is all relative. A 24-hour galaxy of the south. A dimension where butter goes to melt. Whether your day is just starting or your night is just ending. In the dimension the Waffle House sits, you know it's time for some food. The slow drizzle of syrup and the hum of muted conversation mixed with the smell of freshly brewed coffee during the day gives way on occasion to a nocturnal ambience of combustible chaos, amid a backdrop of rhythmic sirens, like the first day in a prison yard, but with the addition of waffles. Great waffles. Don't mind the flying elbow drops off the counter. The staff have to maintain order somehow. The moment you enter, you're not sure you will leave, but it's worth the risk. Always worth the risk. If this was like doing time, then time wouldn't be so bad. After all, time is relative, and there's always a time for Waffle House. Joe Rogers Sr. and Tom Faulkner had the idea of a community-focused restaurant. Rogers and Faulkner were neighbors and had complementary skills. Tom Faulkner came from a business background, specifically real estate. In fact, they became acquainted after Faulkner sold Rogers a house. Joe Rogers Sr. at the time was working for a local restaurant chain called Toddle House. The two decided that what their local community in Avondale Estates, Georgia, needed was a 24-hour restaurant. In 1955, they opened the first Waffle House restaurant. Coming up with a name was a doddle. Toddle House to Waffle House. The neighbors didn't plan on building a chain on the scale that Waffle House has become. More, a small regional chain known for good customer service. In 1955, the idea for expansion on this scale would not have been so obvious, especially for a diner-style operation. The customer service aspect of their business was how Waffle House wanted to be seen. The South is known for it after all. Joe Rogers Sr. was reportedly the driving force, a people person by nature, and would say things like, "We're not in the restaurant business, we're in the people business." Clichés were all the rage in this generation. Also, at the time there wasn't a Reddit group where your people are making their own clichés about your company. By 1961, Waffle House was 4 locations strong, and Rogers' son, Joe Rogers Jr., joined the company. Those early days, the emphasis was on the staff, not just the customers. In 2004, Rogers stated, "Most of our waitresses have hard lives. A lot of them have a bunch of kids at home, and maybe their husbands don't have good jobs. We can't solve all their problems, but we can listen to them. Like most places, there is sentiment, a nice sentiment. How close to the truth this is for others to decide. For some, a story of community, a close-knit family, nothing but good to say and memories to tell. For others, it might sound like a low-paid deployment to a conflict zone. This can be said for a number of similar businesses, especially for a restaurant that doesn't close. For many, a 24-hour sign is one of convenience. As a customer, you give it little thought. As an employee, you can be given even less respect. Any shift is tough. At night, it can, and often is, tougher. The location can be different. Geography not relevant. Nightfall brings the unpredictable side of humanity, often combined with alcohol. Much alcohol. Waffle House is no exception to this. The ways of the night that most will never witness. A customer unhappy with their order, but can't remember why. Ducking the occasional drunken swing, and a server flitting from one death threat to another. The shift can be exhausting. Waffle House is tougher than your average eatery. Even when faced with the wrath of Mother Nature, Waffle House stays open, usually. So much so that there is a Waffle House index for people to gauge the severity of a storm. This is not internet slang or trending hashtags. It's Hash Brown's Category 5 style. The Waffle House index term was reportedly coined by Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, Administrator Craig Fugate, after the Joplin, Missouri tornado of May 2011. This tornado was massive and left a huge level of devastation in its wake. Around 1,150 people were injured and 158 people sadly died. The damage? $2.8 billion. The 2 Waffle Houses in town, they stayed open. This is not mere bravado or stubbornness on Waffle House's part, but rather some detailed planning. Apparently, Waffle House has put a lot of thought into operations, especially in areas where such weather disasters are common. A protocol is in place where individual restaurants are identified should it be in harm's way. A call to employees is made in order to identify who can work and who cannot. Sometimes staff are brought in from different areas. A big part of me wants to believe they abseil down from helicopters onto the roof, but this might not be true. Temporary warehouses can be used and a predetermined menu based on the severity of the situation. The Waffle House index consists of 3 levels. Green, full menu. The restaurant sustained little or no damage storage and has full power. Yellow, limited menu, the restaurant is running out of food or has limited power. Red, the Waffle House is closed due to severe flooding or damage. This level of planning from Waffle House is of the highest order and actually plays a vital role. In such an event, FEMA will monitor Waffle House's operational status. This provides an indicator of what is to come, a bit like birds disappearing before a storm, but in this case an apron-wearing Waffle House waitress. An open or closed restaurant can not only show the severity of a storm in a particular area, but also where FEMA should send people and equipment. If Waffle House is open, even in a limited capacity, it can have a big impact on the local community, being a place where people can congregate and have access to food and drink. The faster this can happen in a serious situation, the better. Waffle House deploys its own storm book when things get tough. The limited menu scales back to a few items that can be prepared if the water and electricity is not available. Waffle House uses gas predominantly, so you can usually still expect bacon, eggs, and waffles, with presumably the addition of fresh fish if the water level gets high enough. According to Forbes, Waffle House's sales for 2020 are estimated at $1 billion and have done remarkably well in comparison to competition like Denny's, where sales have fallen by almost a half. Waffle House currently has around 2,000 locations. Under Joe Rogers Jr., the company has moved away from high-level debt and owns almost all of the Waffle House locations, with just 10% being franchised restaurants, an advantage that Rogers is hoping to use to build on Waffle House's current momentum. Apart from the occasional tornado, you are unlikely to see cars circling a Waffle House near you, unless your local Waffle House is in the Stone Mountain area of Georgia, which has been experimenting with a Waffle House drive-thru concept since 2015. A rare occurrence, but not the first trial for a Waffle House drive-thru. In 2008, a window was opened at a location on Fulton Industrial Boulevard in Atlanta. Despite being a pain, experimenting with a drive-thru window, Waffle House seemingly appears more than happy to test the concept out. Unfortunately, this early iteration proved to be unsuccessful. The reason, the company alleged, was that Waffle House wasn't on the breakfast side of the road. An interesting explanation. Not sure that the joke, "Why did the Waffle House cross the road to increase breakfast drive-thru sales?" will catch on, but maybe I'm wrong. The more recent drive-thru location in Stone Mountain does not offer a full menu in its drive-thru, rather a scaled-down menu for ease of operation, so not a true waffle experience. Operating hours for the drive-thru is also restricted for breakfast and lunch, but you can still get your hash browns smothered, covered, chunked, etc. For the uninitiated, there is a plethora of options for ordering your hash browns, and in a single-word language that is one step above Morse code. So will Waffle House drive-thrus be the future? On the face of it, Waffle House does not seem to fit the mold operationally of a drive-thru. The food is made to order. Your order is taken and delivered to your table by a server. This is surely an old-school diner in every way, but most food at Waffle House could be cooked quickly enough to serve a drive-thru operation. One obstacle is that traditionally modern drive-thru restaurants are exactly that, drive-thru restaurants. In most cases, the drive-thru is responsible for the majority of sales. For Waffle House, this could put a strain on where to prioritize attention. While a Waffle House waffle has the aerodynamics of a mid-range frisbee, and I'm sure the average Waffle House customer could make the catch if called upon, getting them out of the window fast enough poses some problems, but not impossible. If you have a standard menu like other restaurants that is available regardless of dining in or driving through, then it would naturally skew towards the most sales, which the market would suggest is drive-thru, unless Waffle House envisions that most customers will still dine in. Offering a limited menu is maybe a way of restricting traffic, perhaps temporarily, siphoning off the customers from inside dining that are happy with a limited choice and then want to get on their way. This could be a smart move on Waffle House's part, and also beneficial to customers that are more time sensitive, similar to an express lane in a supermarket if you have 10 items or less. Waffle House seems to want to do Waffle House drive-thrus. If they are rolled out, I would expect it to be a slow evolution rather than a rapid overhaul. Specific sites that can handle such an operation. Waffle House will be a different experience if a full menu can be ordered through a window, but once the drive-thru beast is let loose, it's difficult to tame. A road trip can give you plenty of time to think. It's early morning and you're hungry. Am I on the breakfast side of the road or not? Why did the Waffle House cross the road? Is eating a waffle while in a headlock at 3 a.m. normal? So many questions, not enough answers. An exit is coming up. Storm clouds have gathered. A Waffle House sign shines like a sanctuary beacon. Waffle House. They know what to do. They always do. You arrive only to find it's eerily quiet. No birds, and more importantly, not a single apron-wearing Waffle House waitress. Code red. It's time to run. All things Waffle House. Let me know. Thanks for watching.